Today, let us visit the dark, alternate reality of the DC Comics universe, where there isn't much hope. Things are much more horrible in this reality. Here at this page, you can find yourself listening to audio dramas where we recap various storylines within video games, comic books, and movies, allowing you to enjoy the lore of your favorite pop culture universe. And today, we cover DCeased. Issue 1. The sky booms with thunder, while blows keep falling on Darkseid's face. The Kryptonian steps back after giving a final punch, breaking his jaw. Wonder Woman tightens her hold on the lasso of truth that is wrapped around Darkseid's throat. The invasion by Darkseid has lasted a week, and the entire Justice League has mobilized to stop it.
You will leave Earth now, Darkseid.
Superman yells at the god, glaring at him, and Batman steps forward.
You will not return to our world. Say it.
Wonder Woman growls, staring angrily at Darkseid.
The lasso compels you.
Darkseid stood as if he had not been beaten up at all, and shook free of the Wonder Woman's lasso, turning his back to an open boom tube. I will not return, for I have no need. The truth is, I have what I came for. Saying this, he stepped through the portal and disappeared. The team relaxes as the dangers seem to have left them.
You know, I thought that was going really well, up until that anonymous last sentence.
Green Arrow loosens his grip on the arrow while he speaks, when suddenly everyone's attention is attracted by an alarm coming from a device on Batman's utility belt.
Cyborg is missing. He's not in Metropolis. He's not on Earth.
The group is surprised and doesn't understand how he would know that, but he simply reveals to them that he has placed a tracking device on Cyborg, monitoring his every move.
He's a walking weapon with Apocalypse's technology running through his body and brain, which we barely scratched the surface of understanding. It would be irresponsible to let that kind of unknown power move freely.
The team stares at Batman, dumbstruck, and Superman finally dares to ask the question.
Did Vic know you were tracking him?
Batman's silence answers Superman's question. This makes the Flash really angry, as he starts whirling around Batman, asking more questions.
You have a tracker on Superman?
The Flash finally asks. No. Flash's words fuel the League to question Batman's intent even further.
Anyone concerned about the slight pause there?
Green Arrow asks. Green Arrow speaks up, but the team decides to leave the question of Batman's morality for now, as they have more important concern for now. They need to find Victor. On Apocalypse, the loyal follower of Darkseid, DCeased, is inserting stakes through Cyborg's limbs. With the last stake, he had managed to pin him to the table like an insect. He grins at Cyborg, with a satisfied look on his face. Do you know of the anti-life equation? A grin forms on his face as he tells Cyborg that it is the end of all free will, and whoever controls it, the equation will dominate all things across the universe. While DCeased carries on with his preaching, ignoring Cyborg's sarcastic comments, when he finally reveals that his lord, Darkseid, has finally found the remaining half of the anti-life equation. And it was in you, Cyborg. Darkseid states as he steps out of the shadows. Cyborg stares at the massive god, raising one of his eyebrows. Were you waiting in the corridor to make a good entrance? He asks with a slight grin on his face. Darkseid stares at him for a second before ordering DCeased to rip his tongue off. Take his tongue. With a laugh, DCeased eagerly turns to do the grim task given to him. Darkseid then asks DCeased if they are ready to begin. If Cyborg is killed by the merging process, the anti-life equation will be lost.
Darkseid nods. We must control Victor Stone.
As Darkseid rips the mother box from Cyborg's chest,
I will summon death.
Summon the Black Racer, a deity and avatar of death itself in the DC universe, suddenly appears in the room. Darkseid reaches out and takes hold of the deity by the throat without breaking a sweat.
I have need of you.
Darkseid snarls. Using Apocalypse technology, DCeased moves towards the Black Racer and steals a piece of death. As the energy merges with Cyborg, he starts chanting the anti-life equation. If something is already corrupted in nature, the use of death will corrupt it further. Darkseid could suddenly feel it, scratching at the inside of his mind. He starts to scream, his fingers clutching and clawing at his face. DCeased stares at Darkseid in fear as the Black Racer watches him with the calmness of death.
It is time for the god to die.
DCeased, while immune to the disease, clearly knows that he has to send Cyborg back to Earth before the entirety of the apocalypse, his home planet, is destroyed because of this. He opens the boom tube, and suddenly Cyborg was gone. But it was too late. Darkseid lashes out, and the Black Racer falls, and then leaps into the sky, destroying the city in his wake, and falls into a fiery pit that leads to the very core of Apocalypse. As he crashes into the core, the planet shudders and explodes, taking the life of everyone that calls Apocalypse their home. On Earth, the boom tube opens. From that, Cyborg falls into the streets of Metropolis, the city of Superman. He could feel the disease spreading through him as he desperately tries to control it. But unfortunately, it was too late. He tries to warn the people around him with his bloody mouth, but he's unable to say anything at all. Few people try to help him, but others immediately start taking pictures of him with their smartphones. Since Cyborg was half machine, the anti-life equation, when merging with him, became digital in nature, spreading itself quickly, affecting everyone it came in contact with. Suddenly, people around Victor became scared and started tearing the flesh from their very own bodies, trying to get rid of the disease. As the disease continues to take over them, the fear disappears. Victor watches helplessly as the people turn from being scared to completely consumed by rage and begin attacking each other. In the home of Scott-Free and Big Barda, Superman asks his allies for help in saving Cyborg.
Can you help me save Victor?
But suddenly, in mid-conversation, he stops, picking up some disturbance in the city through his super hearing ability.
Did you hear that?
He asks without wasting any time, jumps out the window to find what is happening in the city. As he looks down on the city, he sees people screaming. There are people fighting and killing each other right below him. People everywhere are bleeding through their eyes, their ears, and mouths. Superman turns towards his home, gripped by fear.
John! Lois!
In their apartment, John and Damian are playing a video game while Lois is looking for her phone. Damian, where is it? John asks Damian while looking away from the screen for a moment. You have X-ray vision, Damian quickly responds. That's actually a good point. Looking for it using his X-ray vision, he finds the phone on the other side of the room and started reaching out for it. But the phone is suddenly blasted by Superman's heat vision, while Superman turns and blasts the television too. Don't look at the screen, he orders them. No screens! In the Batcave, Batman finishes firewalling the cave and asks the computers to play a live feed from the cameras that are positioned around Gotham City. He is shocked that the people are tearing each other apart in his city. With no sign of humanity left in the people of Gotham, the Bat computer runs projections and informs Batman that 600 billion are infected worldwide, and the virus at this pace will affect the rest of the internet within a few days.
Has the connection been disabled in the house?
He asks as the Bat computer replies with a no. Fear takes over the Dark Knight. He jumps from his chair, ordering the Bat computer to activate the EMP in the Wayne Manor. The house goes dark. Superman and Lois look out from their apartment as their city drowns in the act of chaos.
I need to assemble the League,
Superman tells Lois. Look out there. Who knows what's left of the League, she tells him. Damian looks at the radio in his hand. It was supposed to help him connect with his father. But the radio was always supposed to work. Superman continues to stare at the city and tells Damian that Batman will have contingencies in place. He'll do whatever it takes to reach Damian.
I've learned never to underestimate your father.
But in the darkness of the Wayne Manor, Batman silently moves around the house, calling out for his family. He finally hears Alfred scream, coming out of the kitchen. He runs through the darkness and bursts into the kitchen to find Alfred holding a knife to protect himself from Nightwing, who has been infected by the virus. As the zombie Nightwing rushes forward, Bruce manages to knock him off. Batman tries to reason with Nightwing, but the young hero is no longer himself. Suddenly, Tim Drake, the Red Robin, appears from behind, fighting hard at Batman's arm.
Alfred, run!
Bruce yells at the top of his lungs as the boys that he raised begin to bite into his arm, their hands tearing away the flesh from Batman's body.
Run!
This is where we conclude DCeased, issue number 1. And I hope you guys enjoyed our spooky tale today. A story riddled with fear and horror. Our story of the DC Universe falling victim to the horror of the anti-life equation. Don't forget to like and comment on the video if you want to know what happens next in DCeased, issue number 2.